preserve some memories in such a great project like this. So publicly, thank you very much to all those who made this happen. Chuck?
I want to thank all of you for being here tonight on behalf of the Wetzel County Time Capsule Project. Fran Caldwell, Earl Yost, and myself have enjoyed this project. It not only gave us a chance to collect things and preserve for the future, it gave us time to reflect and talk with people about what they think the future will be. And there are many ideas and visions of what will come. And one thing that I got out of talking with most people is there's a sense of hope. Even though we don't look like we're going down the right road sometimes, there's a hope that we will. One of the things that I'm going to put in the time capsule is this pocket watch. I started this pocket watch this morning. I've stopped it a few minutes ago, and there's a piece of paper that's going to go with this pocket watch. And the paper is going to say, this pocket watch was started and ran for 12 hours on October 1st, 2016. We asked those who opened this watch to restart it and let it complete the 24-hour day in your century. In that way, we have shared in time across 100 years. May you be blessed with peace and hope, and now and a bit of time shared with our generation. That will go into the time capsule. Also, there will be a letter of opening when they open it up. The first thing they see, and it'll say, hello to the year 2116. If you are opening this capsule, we welcome you to this collection of items from our century. You will find inside an inventory list attached to this note. We ask that you share these items with the citizens of the county in a museum setting where items can be viewed by all. You will also find a collection of letters from people who want to reach out and touch future generations. If you would contact local genealogists, maybe they can help find the relatives of those who placed items in this capsule. We ask that you remove the items and then replace them with items from your time and place them back in the monument. Seal it for another 100 years. Send it into the year 2216. Give them the same message to repeat the process, and send it into time century after century. We hope that you enjoy seeing these items placed inside. We wish you a bright future. Good luck from the Wetzel County Time Capsule Project. Now I'm going to give these to Earl Yost. As we start, I want to thank the people who made this possible. The Wetzel County Commission, we went to them about 6 months ago, and we laid out our plan, told them what we wanted to do. They were very receptive to it and eager to help us with this project. The CVB, the County Visitors Bureau, has been supportive. The Wetzel County Chamber of Commerce, ArtsLink, Ironworkers, Dan Mahern, Matt Bland, and Carl Smoltz. They donated their time, efforts to building all the structural steel inside of this thing. They put it together. Dan did the design work. The idea was this is going to be sitting on Main Street in Martinsville for a long time. As you all know, the waters are going to cover it in the next century at least 2 or 3 times. If you look at the windows in this building, in '36, the water was halfway up those windows. So we had to, when we built this, take that into consideration. Earl Yost did most of the design work and construction of the philosophy of it, and I'm very sure that it'll last a long time. The Axial plant maintenance superintendent, Rick Harvey, allowed us to have the time capsule built at the plant. Ben Nice and Nathan Anderson built the capsule. It's built out of 3/16 stainless steel. I don't think that much could happen in this community that thing would not survive. It takes 2 men and a boy to lift it. and I'm not one of the eat any of those. Tremendous tree trimming. Ryan Yost and Charles Kursick operated the heavy equipment to build this monument. Without them, me and Earl and Fran would be down here with shovels and picks and digging this out, and by the time we got done, they would be wanting to open it in the year 2116. Bridgeport Rental. Bridgeport Rental has been a great asset to us, as they are a lot of times in the community. They donated the use of the equipment and allowed us to move forward in doing all this. Alan Miller of A&L Concrete, Tyler Baker, Rick Roberts, Justin Roberts donated many hours of time pouring the concrete, finishing it up as to what you see there today. Hatfield Graphics made the signs and supported us through this project. Rock of Ages Monument. We started with them back in, I think it was March, and they helped us design. The capstone for this was actually built in Vermont, custom built for us. And the faceplate, they have been more than supportive and worked with us on costs and things. So I'm very indebted to them for this help. Ace Hardware and the concrete company, S-Rock, for helping us with the concrete. Earl, you want to go ahead and start finishing putting this thing together? Our goal, yeah, go ahead and picture. There. Our picture has returned. That's the last thing that's going to go in the capsule. Our goal in this capsule, when we did this, was to collect as many things from the community as we could, both political, social, and religion. What music we listen to, what's in the news, what movies we watch at the theater. We would try to incorporate all that into it. There's a collection of books, magazines, a lot of different things. And so when we put this in the ground and seal it up, I'm kind of reminded of Carl Sagan once spoke about the two Voyager spacecrafts we sent to space. They were sent out into space on a 44,000-year mission to reach wherever a long time from now, and that happened in 1977. On each of the spacecrafts was a gold record. The gold record told about our planet, told what we thought was important. But he also said those records, those things we included in it, just like our time capsule, tells what we think is important about ourselves, our community, our county, and our times. So what we've placed in there, we hope, says the best about us. It also tells the headlines in the news. Some things aren't always the best, but we hope future generations see this as a way of passing on what we believe is important to the citizens of Wetzel County. One of the most important things we received were letters from citizens to their future generations. You know, when you look forward 100 years from now, we're talking probably about our great-great-great-grandchildren, and they'll be in their 30s and 40s. That's a long way in the future. When they open this, they get some of those letters, they'll have some feeling, concept. It's like somebody, the old mail system, when you mailed a letter and it took a while to get there, well, this one's going to take 100 years to get there. So when they open it, it's going to be a real thrill for them. We asked for local churches to supply us bulletins, notices, anything that would tell us what there is going on in our religious aspects of our community, because religion and God is a very important part of this community and this county. We also have in there a collection of nearly 16,000 pictures. 16,000 pictures that tell the past history of this community, the present community, so that they can have some idea visually what we look like. I went around and took different pictures of the community, and I made them like postcards. So when they get the pictures out, they'll look at 100 and know what they look like. They'll look at Payton City, know what they look like. Same way with our community. All these things are in there. We placed an American flag. We hope that American flag is still flying high and maybe has a few more stars on it. We also placed a Bible in there, something we feel is important. There's a inscription in it from Reverend Vic Hunter, a good friend of mine. Hopefully they'll understand how important the Bible was to us in our time. We have placed a copy of the Constitution and Declaration in there. It was once predicted that a democracy could not stand more than a few hundred years because a democracy, people tend to vote benefits for themselves. Well, I tend to think that our democracy is going to go a lot longer than that, and so we've included a Constitution and a Declaration of Independence saying it is important to us now, and it'll be important in the future. We think that we are sending these letters on to our great-great-grandchildren. The only thing that will take is 100 years ago. They won't be surprised in 100 years that we survive rap music, and they won't be surprised we survived the adventure of the Kardashians. And there's pieces in there about the upcoming election, the politics. We don't know what the outcome will be, but in 100 years, they will know what happened. And they may still be talking about this election that we're going to have in this November. In there is a copy of the history of Viking glass, an important part of our community. There are also 2 pieces of red glass donated by Terry Kozart from Viking. We have marbles from Payton City Marble King, one of the last 2. At one time there was 200 marble manufacturers in this country. There's only 2 left now, and Marble King is one of them. We have a jar of honey in there from Thistledew Farms. Now, in King Tut's tomb, when they opened it, there was a jar of honey. And that was thousands of years ago. When they opened the jar of honey, it was still good. So we're assuming in 100 years, if they have a sweet tooth, they'll have a jar of honey to taste from our century. We have an assortment of badges, pens, different brochures. We have political pens from all political groups in there, so those are in there. We have a collection of books, magazines, newspapers. We have a green tab with next week's sales at Witchy's. So I always enjoy, when I like watch old Andy Griffith shows, I always like to look on the front of the store and see how much a pound of potatoes cost, or butter, or whatever. With this, they can see what was on sale at Witchy's next week and have some understanding of what we did. There's letters from principals, students, superintendents. The letters we got from high school seniors last year, we asked, are some of the most compelling of all the things I read. Because the students understand a lot more about the world they're stepping into. They have a somewhat of a fear of the future, but they're optimistic that when they get there, they can make things better, and I hope that they do. We have stories from cancer survivors. In 100 years, we hope that cancer has been eradicated, but for those people in 100 years, they'll know what the struggles and the tough times were for those people who fight with that terrible disease today. We have a fishing plug and regulations, a fishing plug that actually caught a fish in the creek out here. So in 100 years, fishing and hunting may be something you go to a special preserve to see and do. So there are 2 solar dancers. I like, you ever see these little things you set in the window and they got a magnet and they sit there and they go like this? Well, I put 2 of them in there. I thought it would be neat when they open them up in 100 years. The first thing they see when the light hits them, this little flower going like this, saying, "Hi, how you doing?" They will be part of that. There's a set of false teeth in there. There's a set of hearing aids and a set of glasses. In 100 years, with technology, talking with dentists and doctors and things, hopefully we have moved beyond those primitive prosthetics that we use today to help the problems we have, things. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the construction of the capsule. It was made at the plant, and it's going to be put down in top of there. You noticed first the time capsule itself was slid down in. Then on top of that, there's an air seal that goes over it. Think of it as like a glass, and you turn it upside down, stick it down in the water. That air will stay inside of that capsule, protecting it. So there's a seal inside of the actual stainless steel time capsule. There's the air seal that goes on that. And then on top of that, there will be concrete. They're going to put a piece of foam in there in a minute on top of the air capsule, and then they're going to pour concrete on top of that. The concrete is dyed red, so in the future, whenever they look in there, they'll know the seal is separate from the actual concrete monument. And there will be a letter put on the top of it, it's sealed, that tells them the instructions of how to open it. So if they read the instructions, now if it's like me, I'll have to bring my wife to read the instructions how to open that time capsule in 100 years. But So that'll be on it. Then finally, there's a 1,800-pound capstone that will be set on place, and that's being done by Rock of Ages. There are 4 different seals to hold that capsule in place. How are they doing down there? All right, they're moving right along. Okay. The community was a big supporter in doing all this. Larry Tackett, who's the dean at the local college, I talked to him about taking the picture, because in a lot of the old pictures from in the past, when they did things, they brought up here and they took pictures so that they could see in the future. The one thing nice about this monument is there'll not be any concern that it was put in New Martinsville instead of Morgantown, like Levi's statue. If you've read in the newspaper over the years, there have been numerous stories about Levi Morgan is rightfully where he should be. There has been some question of that about for years, and I've read a couple stories about it, and I still get people questioning why we have Levi Morgan here. And an important point about that is when Levi ancestor Aaron Morgan in the early 1900s went to he was senator in the state, so he went to the legislature. He said we should build a monument to Levi Morgan. He was so important to this county. So the legislature gave him the money. So when they went to build it, there was a monument works just north here of the old Methodist church, one of the finest monument works on the East Coast. And so when they started to build it, they said, well, what's he look like? You know, he died back before 1850, before cameras came in, so what's he look like? Well, Senator Aaron Morgan, who was willing to sacrifice himself, he said, I'll tell you what, I'm a Morgan. He probably looks something like me. So if you want to use my face on that statue, feel free to. So when you look up there and see the face of Levi Morgan, if it looks like Aaron Morgan, well, there's a reason for that. That was set, what, 1903? The Levi Morgan statue was done? 1902, same time the courthouse was being finished. Well, in 2002, Bill Talkington and Bob Eller cleaned it. They took the gun down. The gun, if you think your gun is heavy when you go hunting in the woods, that gun, what, weighs 75 pounds? And the works in it actually operate. So that Levi has done real well to stand there for over 114 years carrying a 75-pound bronze gun. Yeah, Beulah Parkington put a lot of information in there about the statue and the Morgan. Now they're pouring the concrete in on top of the actual seal. And then on top of that, there'll be a letter that basically explains what's going on. It's sealed in a special envelope that we purchased to put in there so that the concrete won't affect it. All the things packed inside of the time capsule were put into what they call acid-free sleeves. They're used at the Smithsonian for storing things. Paper naturally has acid in it. You know how it tends to turn yellow and stuff with time. Using acid-free sleeves for all that stuff inside there, it should preserve it and not deteriorate over time.